Yo, guys, been Fire here back from the video, and today we're going to be hopping into a full guide on how to quick adjust in college football 25. Now, quick adjusting is going to be one of the most important skills to learn in this year's game. It is going to give you the ultimate advantage on defense, and it is really one of the biggest skill gaps in this game overall. The difference between a good player and a great player and an elite player is how well they can quick adjust on defense. The really great players, they don't sit there and they don't run stock cover 2. They don't run stock cover 3. They're making adjustments. They're adjusting to what the offensive player is doing and manipulating defenses so that they're better in certain ways. And the way you have to do that is with quick adjusting. So I will be teaching you guys every quick adjustment, how it works, what it does in this year's game. And without further ado, I'm just going to come out in a stock cover 2. Pretty simple there. Offense will be running trips. The plays don't matter. We'll be going over every adjustment regardless. But let's just go ahead and start out here. Now, right immediately on your screen on defense. And again, quick adjusting is a defensive concept, so we will be going over defense. Immediately, we have a pre-play menu. Some people, you might not even know how to quick adjust, like how to pull up anything. We'll be going over everything like you're a beginner. So immediately, some people will click the right stick to go to their adjustments. Pretty simple. Yes, I might actually move my face cam over to this right-hand side just so that we can see all of our adjustments. So you're going to click this right stick in, and this is going to pull up all of your adjustments. So if you don't know what you're doing, this is probably what you're going to want to do to see. So you see we have X to audible, Y to go to the secondary, D-pad to the left is going to be our D-line, D-pad to the right is going to be our linebackers, and then you have defensive keys, which is going to be R1. You have LT, which is the show coach vision, and RT, which is to show player. A is going to be the individual adjustment. So first, we're going to go over how to actually move who you're controlling as a defensive player. So if you're really inexperienced with the game, you're going to be probably pressing this B button. And again, circle on PlayStation. I know how it can be confusing with the different consoles, but you're going to be pressing B. And let's say you want to get to the D line. You're going to press B like a bunch of different times to get to the players. What you can do pretty simply is actually just hold the left stick in the direction that you want to move in. So let's say I want to go up, I just hold the left stick up, move up. I go right, left, and you just hold the left stick in the direction that you want, and that is how you easily move between. You don't have to just press B. Some people don't know that. I know it's pretty kind of an obvious tip, but that might have helped some people. So pretty simple stuff there. Now again, A is going to be your individual adjustment, but we'll go in order. So the right stick is pretty useless. It's only if you don't know what any of these mean. So to audible, for example, I don't have to press in R3 or the right stick and then press X. What I can simply do is just press X or square. And this is going to pull up my audibles. Now with the audibles, you have a few different options. Obviously, you have 4 audibles that you can put in. So I like to use just the buttons. You don't have to use the D-pad and press A. You can, but it's easier to audible to a cover 3 if I just press X and then L1. Now we're in cover 3, like so. So let's say I changed to cover 3, but I accidentally changed my mind, or maybe I see him do an adjustment that would lead me to believe that I want to switch back to the original play I called, which is cover 2. How do we do that? We're going to actually press X, and obviously cover 2 is in my audibles, but let's say it wasn't. You could press X in the left trigger or L2, and that's going to reset it. Now we're back in cover 2. Now this can become more of a concept when you're actually adjusting. Let's say you mess up an adjustment. You think he's going to snap the ball. You don't have time to cancel the adjustment. You can just reset the play really quickly, and then you're in the clear. So with these audibles, that's an option. You can obviously flip the play. Now, this isn't as valuable, but you see how flipping it could manipulate it. It's not as good of a concept in a symmetrical play like a Tampa 2, but if you're running like a cover 3 cloud or a cover 6, it could become more of a valuable concept. Specifically if you're in a symmetrical formation as well. This isn't symmetrical, so we're just going to reset that, and you see when we reset it, it also resets the flipping that we just did. Now, D-pad to the right and left is going to allow you to go to different formations like these nickels. We can go to over G. We can go to lots of different options. And then again, that's just D-pad to the right or left, depending on the direction that you want to go to. And then you can obviously switch your coverage. So let's say you audible to a different formation, you can still reset the play the same way I just did there. So that's really all there is to audibling. It's pretty simple. Again, all you have to do is press X or square. You don't have to do anything else besides that. Now, moving on, we have next is going to be kind of our big key, and that's going to be the true art of quick adjusting. A lot of it is going to come into play with the secondary. So to pull up your secondary adjustments, again, it's just Y. So Y, and then specifically with quick adjusting, it's going to be Y again. Now, one thing we have here is we have all these other coverage adjustments. So with these coverage adjustments, you have give cushion. This is going to back up your corners. You see how they back up? Again, if you reset the play, they're going to move them back to normal position, which we already learned. So Y, left stick up, is going to be give cushion. Let's say you want to show a cover 3. Now you can kind of move them in there in a cover 3 position with just the secondary. Once again, let's say you show 2, they're going to move back into the position because we're running a cover 2, so they're going to automatically be in show 2 shell. Now pressing, obviously you know that. Y down on the left stick, that is going to move your corners down. Now you see this guy is jamming at the line of scrimmage. Again, you reset the play. Now, one thing to keep in mind, when you click onto a player, they are going to be stuck in that position. So if I click onto like this corner, so I moved him around, I accidentally clicked on. Now if I press, you see he stays. So that's a kind of a key point. You don't want to click onto the players because then they end up staying in position. So that is just something to keep in mind. You don't want to do that. Typically people will stay on the user. And if they're going to change their user, they do it at the very end so that something like that doesn't happen. Now, it won't really be important between players like these guys, but it could become important with the other guys. And obviously with the press, you see now the slot corner is pressing because we clicked on him before. Now he's pressing, whereas before he wasn't. So simple stuff there, but let's reset it. Now we have the right stick adjustments. With the right stick, that is going to be shading over the top. Now, shading over the top is going to be with your zones or man coverage. So if you're in a press man-to-man coverage, let's say we're just running cover 1, we try and press at the line of scrimmage. So these corners are all going to jam. So whatever play you run, they're going to jam at the line of scrimmage. Now, this guy still gets open, but you saw how the corners on the outside pressed. And that is what a normal press man-to-man coverage looks like. So let's run the same thing, and now let's shade over the top, actually. So now we're shaded over the top. That is, again, just wire triangle up on the right stick. And you see, no press coverage at all. So that's a simple way of doing over-the-top coverages. Now that you can also do it during zones. So let's say I'm in a cover 3, and let's say I was in a hard flat zone. So let's say I was running cover 3, and I had hard flats on, which is actually shading underneath in normal cover 3, which we'll talk about in a bit. But let's say I wanted to shade over the top, that is going to be up, and that moves the hard flat to a cloud flat, which is going to play a little bit further up. So you can see playing over the top, you're playing a little bit further back. Pretty simple. Again, that's just Y and up on the right stick. Now, shading inside and outside. Let's say someone's running heavy corner routes on you. That's a situation where you might want to shade outside. Now, you won't be able to see anything with your eyes when you do that, but it will maybe help your guys play outside a little bit more, specifically those flat zones and those outside zones. They will play a little bit more aggressively on the outside, and it does make a little bit of a difference. Shading inside, not really a concept I use. I shade outside if I'm going to do one of those, but it's there as well. Now let's get into, again, you have the individuals, which if you really want to quickly do something like this, you can also, so with individuals, let's say I'm in, sorry, this is a little bit confusing to explain, but let's say I was in cover 1, but let's say he has burners, so I want to press one of my players, and let's say I just want to press the X wide receiver. How do I do that? So I press Y, to bring up my secondary, I'm going to press A or X on PlayStation. That's going to bring individual. The receiver that I'm going to do this with is going to be the X or square receiver, and then I'm going to press. So let's say I want to jam him at the line of scrimmage. That's going to be down. So let's reset the play. He wasn't really listening to us. So we'll do it just from zone, but it's going to be Y, A, X, and down. Does that feature not work? So you can move him back. Okay, I guess because he wasn't pressed. So let's say we press him and then you want to manually move him back, you can. If you want to manually press him again, you can't. So I guess in stock coverage, you can't press with him. That seems a bit odd, but maybe you have to press and then manually move the guys back that you want. But again, that's Y, A, the receiver that you want. So let's say we want Y, we could back up the slot guy. We could just press the slot guy. We could move X back. And again, with those, you can also shade left and shade right. So if he's killing me with an outside breaking route, like a zig or something like that, an out route with the slot receiver, maybe I jam him and I shade left. So then if Y is on a little baby out route, and again, this isn't man coverage, but that would be a play we could do. So let's say I man him up, I jam him, I shade left. Now you see he actually plays that quite good. Now again, that was man and zone, so obviously the middle of the field is open, but we don't really care about the coverage in this standpoint. We're just more teaching. So that's individual. Now the most important part of this video is going to be obviously the quick adjusting. So let's get into that. With quick adjust, this is where you can control everybody. So obviously what you could do is you could bounce around and put players in different things by pressing A, and you see now, oh, I can put this guy in man coverage, but it's a lot easier to just do it from the same spot. And this is where you hear people doing like crazy adjustments. So let's say I wanted to man everybody up. I'll show you guys just kind of how fast you can actually do it. Boom, and everybody's already manned up. So that is how you did it very quickly. You see how fast you can do these things. Let's say I wanted a zone over here. I wanted a middle third. You can just get very creative with it. And you see, I just completely turned a cover 2 into a cover 1, and I have a curl flat. Just super easy to do once you know how to do it. But knowing how to do it is the important part. So again, you double tap Y, and now we have lots of different options. Again, it's only the secondary. We also have quick adjust for the linebackers and D-line, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So let's start out with our corners. So corners, we have options here. Starting out on the left side, you have the outside third. This is going to be a cover 3 zone, so you put him in the outside third, and you see now he's playing like a cover 3 deep zone. You have that. You have hard flat, which can be left stick to the left. That is going to put him in a hard flat, and I realize we never talked about shading underneath, but that's why I'm Y and down on right stick, or triangle and down on right stick. That's going to be the opposite. That's going to turn like curl flats or quad flats into hard flats, and they're going to play underneath. Pretty self-explanatory. Anyways, going back to our corner, again, double tap Y, and then you're pressing X. So we have hard flat, that's going to play underneath. We can go back to the cloud flat, which is the original zone he's in, or you go soft squat. Now, cloud flat is going to be more of an intermediate zone, playing kind of a medium coverage. It sits around 10-15 yards. It's going to give up the flats, but it's going to try and take away the deeper routes, but give up like 30-yard corner routes, if that makes any sense. And obviously in your coaching adjustments, you can actually adjust the length that you want those zones to play. But so soft squat's going to be more of an aggressive zone. It's going to be kind of like a man coverage zone, but so it plays like a man coverage type assignment until another route comes into it. So like if X was on a corner route, that he was on a deep corner or a post, it would actually play like a man coverage until another route went into its zone, and then it would come down and play it. So that's going to be left stick to the right. Now the important one we have is man coverage, because a lot of times in coverages you want to man up certain players. You'll hear in my videos in the future, I'll be talking about like, hey, let's man up your safety on the tight end. If you're playing against trips tight end, man up the linebacker on the tight end, man up your slot cornerback on the running back. Just these different adjustments, and this is how you do them. You double tap Y, you press X, and then you go up on the right stick. So the reason why when you heard me manning up all those people, you heard so many buttons that I pressed is because you have to press 2, X. It's four things before you even get to the player you want. So it's really 5 buttons you press. And I just did that, 5 times in super quickly amount of time. So it just takes practice pressing those buttons. It's like any other video game, but that's how fast you can do it. And again, I'm just manning him up on this player. So obviously you double tap Y, press X, up on the right stick, and then you choose the player you want. Now, you won't be able to do the tight end because he's on the opposite side of the field, but you can do X, I could do Y, I could do B, and then you just choose who you want. So pretty simple. As far as the other things you could do with X, you could go with an outside quarter. This is going to be a solid zone. I like the outside quarters. They play against corner outs really well, especially when you go ahead and press them. So if I wanted them pressed, this is going to be a really good zone against corner outs or deep crossers, deep posts going from left to right that you could obviously take advantage of. So we have the outside quarter. You could blitz. You have the option to blitz any player in the game. On defense, it's not something you would ever do with the secondary, so I wouldn't even really explain it, but that's down on the right stick. And then you have deep half. This is going to be more valuable for things like cover 3 cloud maybe. Rarely will you put a corner in a deep half unless you're playing, like the situation I'll do is cover 3, end of half, 5 seconds left. I'll just throw my corners in deep half. That's going to be a pretty safe defense to run. And that is how you do that. So that's right on the right stick. So that is your corner adjustments. Now let's go into our slot corner. So obviously B is going to be the exact same thing. I don't feel like I need to explain that, but B, same thing. The outside corners, both the exact same. Now with the slot corner, this is where we have different adjustments, and they are significant. The first thing you notice is we have hard flat, which is the same. Man coverage is the same. Blitz is the same, but really everything besides that is going to be completely different. So starting out, we have the hard flat, which we talked about. So if you wanted to, let's say I want to turn this defense into a cover 3 cloud. We throw L1 in a hard flat or curl flat. You could do either, or you could even do seam flat. We throw X in an outside third, and then we'll get to what we could do with Y a little bit later. We're not going to jump the gun. So we'll reset back to our normal. And okay, so L1, you could throw him in a curl flat over here. This would be a good situation for, again, like a cover 3 cloud. Again, if you wanted to play a little bit underneath, you go hard flat, or you could go curl flat shade underneath. Either one. Now again, I would just put him in the hard flat because when you shade underneath, it's going to adjust every zone on the field, not just that one. And then you can go vert hook. So vert hook is going to be the yellow zone that he plays in the middle here. He's going to be helping out on drags, backside posts, things of that nature. He could defend angle routes, lots of good stuff there. And then the seam flat. So seam flat is actually, I've heard, very good this year. It's again similar to the soft spot. It's one of those more aggressive zones, but I've heard that it's pretty good this year. I will have to determine that myself, but I've heard good things out of it. So we have the seam flat. Obviously man coverage, we talked about that. It's going to be the same thing, up on the right stick, and then you choose who you want. So if I wanted to man him up on X, you could do that. You could flip-flop different players. You could get creative. You could man him on the running back. If he's killing you with angle routes with the running back, maybe you man the slot corner on him. He takes away that because he's coming from the other side. So you can get creative. Other than that, we have a QB spy. Would you ever really QB spy your slot corner? Maybe if he's using Jalen Milroe, one of those dangerous QBs that are able to run the ball. You QB spy the slot corner. Now you got speed on speed. He can't go anywhere if your linebackers are slow. I wouldn't really recommend doing it because I think the corners are a little too valuable to do that. But hey, you can get creative. That's why you're watching this video. You know how to do everything. You have blitz. Again, blitzing the slot corner is actually something you would do. A lot of blitz setups would require you to manually blitz the slot corner. And so that is not completely useless. Some blitz setups will want that. So knowing how to do that down on the right stick, pretty simple task. And then with L1, one last thing is the bluff blitz. This is kind of a good zone, so the player will make it look weird, but he's going to play a hook zone curl. So if I go ahead and snap the ball, he kind of, I guess he didn't really bluff blitz all that much, but in years past, it would kind of sprint and fake it. It doesn't look like the bluff blitz is very good from seeing that, I'll be honest. Anyways, that's it for the slot corner. Let's move into our safeties, which is going to be our last one to talk about. I know it sounds like a lot, but it is a lot. With the safeties, we have a deep half, we have an inside third, we have a curl flat, we have a hook curl. So deep half is going to be the zone that you see here in cover 2. Both safeties are in deep halves, or halves rather. So with wire free safety here, we have an inside third. So I was talking about the cover 3 cloud. I would put X in a outside third. I would put L1 in a curl flat. I would put Y in an inside third. This turns my coverage into a cover 3 cloud, and this will be a valuable skill to know. The safeties will be frequent players that you adjust. Because of how flexible and creative you can get with them, you will put them in all sorts of different zones. So that was the inside third. Next option we have is a curl flat. So let's say I was running the cover 3 cloud from the other side, and maybe I wanted to put L1 in a vert hook. I wanted to put A in a inside third. I put B in him, and then we curl flat our linebacker. So this could be a way to do that. Sometimes you need to put the safety in the curl flat. If you want him a little bit higher to start versus the slot corner, you can get creative. Again, these options are helpful to know. The other thing with Y is, let's say we want Y in the hook curl. You could feel free to do that. So we put Y in the hook curl now, and then we just simply put L1 in the curl flat. So we mix it up. And now our coverage looks like this. So you see how the creativity can come into hand. And that's our half of free safety. Next we have man coverage. Manning up the safeties will be something that you do. The good thing about the safeties, you can man them up on any player on the field. So with the corners on the left side, we couldn't man them up on the tight end. With the safeties, we could man them up on anybody we want. So kind of something you'll see is maybe manning up the safety on the outside receiver, manning up the slot corner, or maybe manning up the corner on the slot receiver, something like this. Could be a popular setup on defense. So you have man coverage, obviously. Then you have outside third on the left. This is something you would never use. Why would you ever put him on an outside third over there? You wouldn't. You have inside quarter. This could be kind of valuable. You rarely will use it, but it's decent to know. Especially if you're running cover 4, which is a defense that I'll be talking about very shortly. Trust me, guys. Then we have blitz. You're not going to blitz your safety. Let's be honest here. It's a waste. So no need to talk about that. Last, we have our strong safety. Everything is going to be pretty much the exact same, obviously just flipped. So again, all these adjustments are going to be in the exact same spot, so nothing is confusing for the user, which is very helpful and appreciated as the player. So that is our quick adjustments for the secondary. Let's move on, and we have our linebackers. Now, again, do you guys remember how to use the linebackers? That is going to be D-pad to the right. D-pad to the right. And here we have a few options. So we could spread our linebackers. Again, I'm obviously controlling him here, so he's not going to move. You could pinch the linebackers, move them tighter. Actually, let's snap the ball. Just so that maybe the linebackers can move. So if you don't touch your controller, then he should move, I believe. So let's pinch. I guess not. Whatever. Spread. That's going to be up on the left stick, left and right respectively. So you move the linebacker to the right. Now he's more of a blitzing position, or he's in a more of a better position to play man coverage on either the running back or the tight end. You move him to the left. Now you see he's actually in the middle. So these things can be helpful. Certain blitz setups will require you to shift your linebackers or your D-line in certain spots. Definitely. Now we have these stuff on the right. I rarely use this for zone all, blitz certain guys, but what I will use it for is blitz all. So again, you'll hear me say during certain blitz setups, blitz all linebackers. That's going to be D-pad to the right, down on the right stick. Now, both the linebackers are blitzed. If we go back to zone all, they're back in zone coverage. Now, when you put them in zone coverage, it doesn't put them back to what they were at. So again, I would just reset them. So we would just clear shift and reset the defense. Now they're back in what we had. So that is that. Next up, we have our quick adjust for the D line. So again, we have two different players here. They're both going to be identical with the options. So we have a middle third. Middle third is going to be good. Let's say you're getting killed on post routes. You like playing a cover 2 shell defense. So you go up on the middle, up on the left stick. Now he's in a middle third. Now you can't get beat in the middle as long as that guy has speed. So you have the middle third. You have a hook curl, which is obviously what he was in, I believe. You have curl flat, which is again what I did when I went cover 3 cloud. I put the linebacker in the curl flat because there's obviously nobody else on the right to put him in, so you put the linebacker in him. And then we have not hard flat, but we have middle read. Not the best zone. I never really use that one. I'll be honest. Again, I'm staying transparent. I use certain ones more. I don't use other ones. Now we have the stuff on the right. Obviously, again, I like how they make things simple. Man coverage is always up on the right stick. Same thing with the secondary, only you're, again, double tapping the D-pad to the right, manning up these players on whoever you want. Okay, majority of the time, it'll be manning them up on the tight end or the running back. So again, you can practice that, get familiar with that. Even I still sometimes have problems if I'm really trying to adjust super fast. So I like that they have the QB go through kind of a long animation so you can get these adjustments off on defense. You have QB spy. Again, this is something that'll be frequent. That's right stick to the left. You will probably QB spy them eventually. This is a good beginner adjustment to know as well. If of anything, like you're getting killed by the QB run from one of your boys, he's just running with the quarterback every play. Take advantage. QB spy. Boom. He's cooked. The other ones are going to be hard flat. Rarely will you put the linebacker in a hard flat. Not much. It's good to know again though. And then you have blitz, which if you want to just blitz one linebacker, that's how you do that instead of blitzing all linebackers. So you just double tap D-pad to the right, press the button, and then down on the right stick. Pretty simple for you guys. So that is really it for the linebackers. Pretty simple. Again, the secondary is the most confusing, which is why we spent so much time on it. Last but not least, we have our defensive line here. And with the defensive line, you could do a few different things. So we have pinch. So again, a lot of blitz setups will have these certain things. They'll say pinch your D-line, or this is a good thing to do against the run. Like, what looks more scary as I'm trying to run the ball here. What looks more scary? Doing this. Now, I haven't talked necessarily about R1 yet. We will get into that later, but that is a way to kind of combine certain adjustments if we want to mass do certain things. But for now, we'll talk about the D-line. That is pinch. Let's say you want to spread D-line. You could do that. This is good for 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20. That is going to be up on the left stick, and then you could shift left, shift right. Again, these are more important for blitz setups. Rarely, I won't touch them. I'll pinch if he's killing me in the run game, but for the most part, I kind of leave him alone. And then we have slanting. So you'll hear me kind of phrase this in a variety of ways. I'll either say slant, but usually I'll say crash. So I'll be like, crash right. I won't even say crash D-line. It's kind of intended. But I'll say crash right. Crash right is D-pad left, right stick right. Now you see how they're facing angled to the right. Crash left, D-pad left, right stick to the left. So again, I know this is confusing, a little bit confusing, but let's say I say crash down, that would be slant inside. But obviously you're slanting down. I feel like it's easier to say crash down. It's faster to say crash down, so I say crash down. Crash up, slant outside. That's going to give them more of an outside technique on the pass rush. Leaves more of the inside open though. Be careful with these. There are pros and cons to every adjustment in this game. So there you have that. Again, you can clear shift, but then we have our quick adjust. Now, you won't use quick adjust as much. You'll use it occasionally. Really, again, your best friends will be QB spies, maybe throwing them in a yellow zone, like a vert hook. You could man them up, but you are a little bit limited on who you can man up the D-line with. Generally, it is only the tight end or the running back. So you have the seam flat. Again, seam flat, not used, but it's up on the left stick. You have hard flat, that is left on the left stick. You have the curl flat right on the left stick, and then you have vert hook down on the left stick. Again, we already talked about those adjustments in the secondary, so I'm not really going to explain what they do. Then we have man coverage. Again, you can man up him on the running back. Let's say you had someone really athletic like Micah Parsons at D lineman. You could do that. You have bluff blitz. I wouldn't really touch that one personally. That is right on the right stick. And then you have QB spy. Really the one you would ever use is, again, left on the right stick. Same as it was for linebackers. Same as it was for slot corner. Again, it's helpful that they keep these icons and adjustments the same for the most part, so it's not confusing. And then you have blitz. The D-line's always going to be blitzed, so that's kind of a throwaway adjustment. But that is really it for quick adjustments. We've kind of gone through all of them. The last things that I'm going to talk about is you see R1, which is going to be the defensive keys. So with the defensive keys, this gives us a few options. Now, let's say he was killing me in the run game. I'm like, I don't want to waste 3 adjustments, pressing the corners, pinching the linebackers, and then pinching the D-line. I just press RB down on the left stick, and that presses the corners, pinches the linebackers, and pinches the D-line, everybody. Now, it looks a lot tougher to run the ball, doesn't it? Again, if you reset the defense, it's just going to put everyone back in the normal spots. Pinch the defense. Again, R1 down on the left stick. You could shift right. Really, I don't ever use shift right as a defense, so I don't even like talking about that because it's not an adjustment that's used. Spreading. Again, this could be something decent for like 2 seconds left in the half. Let's move everyone back. On a play-to-play basis, not really important, but maybe 3rd and 20s, long situations, 4th and 20, it could be something you use. Now, the right stick is going to be something that I wouldn't really recommend touching, but it is going to be your run commit. So if you've ever heard someone say run commit, let's say it's 4th and 1, I'm willing to put all my chips in the middle of the table. I'm going all in. I want to stop the run. So I pinch my defense and I go down on the right stick. Now, if I think he's running left, you go left on the right stick or right on the right stick. Let's say I even show blitz with my DBs, which is something that I guess I didn't necessarily talk about, but I'll go back and talk about that. So we ran commit here. We run the ball, and you see everybody played the run. Now, obviously, they didn't play the run well, but they did play the run, and it didn't end up being a big gain. So that's that adjustment. RB down on the right stick or left. Pass committing. Pass committing is something you use again in those long situations, 3rd and 10. Nobody's running the ball really, so we pass commit. That I feel like that makes the D-line a little bit more aggressive. They don't worry about the run as much. So that's something I do recommend using. It's not necessary, but you could feel free to use it. Now let's go back to why, because I don't think I talked about this. We have show blitz here. So with show blitz, that is going to bring those safeties down. Now, in this game, would I ever do that? Probably not. If he's really killing you in the run game, you could. But bringing the safeties down there is a disaster unless you're running man coverage. Because in zone, they're going to get burned over the top very, very easily by a wide receiver. You have sticks. Sticks is going to be a key adjustment. Let's say it's 3rd and 20 and I'm in this cover 2. If I play the sticks, those cloud flats are going to play the 20-yard line first down marker. So they're going to play back there instead of sitting at like the 10 or 15 yards. They're going to play 20 yards. So that is something that's valuable. Not only will it be the cloud flats, it'll also be these middle yellow zones. These guys will play 20 yards. So that is a helpful one. Again, that's Y and L1. Other than that, I think we touched up on pretty much everything. We have these option ones. So if it's a read option, you want to play the running back, you could press X, I believe. And then if you want to play the QB, you could press A. There's a coaching adjustment for that as well. So I'll touch on the coaching adjustments briefly. I haven't fully experimented with these, but so you have auto flip. Pretty much what the auto flip is let's say he comes out and trips on the left, you would want your slot corner on the left as well. I usually keep it on. It makes more sense to keep it on. Cornerback matchups, I wouldn't touch this. can already manually move corners in different spots, so leave that alone. This is interesting. Has to do with motion. If you're running man coverage, I would probably leave this on. If you're running zone, I would leave it disabled, because if you're running a zone, you don't want to set up a whole defense using quick adjust, and then he motions a receiver, and then your defense has gone down the drain, because your curl flat for the slot corner on the left is now on the right side, and now he has a touchdown on the left side. So very high risk, wouldn't touch it. Option defense, pretty self-explanatory. Focus on the dive, focus on the QB. Same thing with this. These don't touch. Flats, this is where you can push them back. So let's say quad flats, I want at 30 because it's 4th and 30. Curl flats, we can move these back. I like leaving them on default, but certain times you'll need to adjust if he's killing you with corner routes or things of that nature. But overall, it's going to do it for the video. If you guys did make it to this point, make sure you hit a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, let me know what you guys want to see next, and peace. I'm out of here.